So they brought to the Israelites an unfavorable report of the land that they had spied out, saying, "The land that we have gone through as spies is a land that devours its inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are of great size. There we saw the Nephilim. The Anakites come from the Nephilim, and to ourselves we seem like grasshoppers, and so we seemed to them." From the book of Numbers, the 13th chapter, the 32nd and the 33rd verses, overcoming giants. Black history is a saga of a people whose incessant journey in the land of the free and the home of the brave can be viewed as one of overcoming giants every step of the way and without ceasing. In celebrating our history, there is the important orthodoxy of naming our pantheon of heroes and sheroes. As vital as calling the roll is, the names called are but the short list of the many thousand gone who played visible and critical roles in the diverse fields which enrich society and culture of not only Black history, but of the nation and the world. Indeed, watching the Tuskegee Airmen and Red Tails makes us proud of our warriors who fought in every war in the history of America, rising through every rank, and in the fullness of time, a Black man became the commander-in-chief. However, pointing out the familiar icons of our history might be analogous to our ability to name a handful of stars out of that awesome and vast canopy blazing the night skies. And as day breaks, although that myriad of stars become invisible, yet amazingly, they still shine. It is within this context, hopefully, Black history can be appreciated and understood. For not written or recorded, nor listed in our pantheon, the stories told at our family reunions or family night at our church. Black history is the story of our our great, and our great-great-grandparents. And for me, then, to understand and appreciate Black history is to understand and celebrate and appreciate their story as they struggled overcoming giants. After 400 years of slavery, the children of Israel had been freed by a God whose name they did not know. Pharaoh's army got drowned in the sea one day. Now encamped in the wilderness of Paran, close to the promised land, God tells Moses, "Send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which I am giving the Israelites." After 40 days, they returned with their report. It was a four-part report. First, they reported the good news. "We came to the land to which you sent us. It flows with milk and honey, and this is its fruits: figs, pomegranates, and grapes. One stalk of grapes was so heavy, 2 men had to carry it on a pole. And I believe this is the symbol of Israel's tourism bureau today. But this was the first report. The second part of the report, yet the people who live in the land are strong, and the towns are fortified and very large. And then the third. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Giants are scary. Giants are intimidating. Giants can strike fear in people's hearts, make one tremble. Look at the whole Israeli army cowering before Goliath. Giants can cause us to retreat. The Bible describes the people's reaction to the report. Then all the congregation raised a loud cry, and the people wept that night. They said, "Would that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would we had died in the wilderness? Why is the Lord bringing us into this land to fall by the sword? Our wives and little ones will become booty. Would it not be better for us to go back to Egypt?" The people living in the fortified cities have the advantage. The people feel there is no way of overcoming giants. Under circumstances like these, one can feel small. Perhaps one can feel like a grasshopper. But this was the majority report. Some historians have said that in 1619, Virginia, at Jamestown, Virginia, the first African Americans were forced onto these shores. The first Africans were forced onto these shores. Thus, 20 Africans became slaves in America. Only 20. In his book, The Negro, Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois says that in 1863, there were approximately 5 million African Americans in the United States. Of these, over 4 million were freed from the shackles of slavery. He said the Negro was freed as a penniless, landless, naked, ignorant laborer. But he did not name a single one. After almost 250 years of the most heinous, vile, and barbaric, and vicious form of slavery in the history of humankind, we were set free. We faced giants, but had no Moses. We faced giants, but had no David. The situation was scary and uncertain. Yes, some felt their circumstances were better under the slave master's whip. Yesterday a slave, now a former slave, with nothing to claim of their own except the tattered clothes on their backs and the raggedy shoes on their feet. Furthermore, blacks who had not been slaves were not lounging around on flowery beds of ease and prosperity. Black history is not some casual or nostalgic stroll, to borrow a phrase from a movie, through the metal patch, nor is it a romantic celebration of the rise of our heroes and sheroes. It is to understand and appreciate the slow, arduous, and perilous journey of overcoming giants. 12 spies were sent out. All 12 saw the same things. We heard the majority report. We heard 3 parts of the report. However, there was a 4th part, the minority report. 2 of the 12 acknowledged what the 10 had seen, but they said the giants could be overcome. Let us go up at once and occupy it, for we are well able to overcome it. A big argument ensued. Some said we can't do it. Those people over there are giants, descendants of the Anakim. Let us turn around and go back to Egypt. But Joshua and Caleb said, the land we passed through to spy it out is an exceedingly good land. If the Lord delights in us, he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which flows with milk and honey. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Do not fear them. God is on our side. Black history, if it hadn't been for the Lord who was on our side. Black history is saying we are well able. Black history says generation after generation will tell our story. Yes, generation after generation will be our living testimony to overcoming giants. Please join me again in continuation of our celebration. And thank you for your time. God bless you and keep you, is my prayer.